Welcome to Dan ARG YouTube. Emmanuel Aigbogun say make the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki grant state pardon to all Yahoo boys for Edo State. Make I leave you now with Emmanuel. Make you for hear the message we bring come today.
Yes. Good morning. A warm good morning to you, all my conscious Edo people. I remain no other person than yours, noble right activist, Comrade Aigbogun Emmanuel. And if you're just joining me live, I want you all to share these broadcasts this morning. Please share this broadcast this morning. I have very many things to say this morning as regards to a particular segment of our youths who find themselves, involved in these lawless and unlawful business called internet fraud, popularly known as Yahoo Yahoo. So if you're just joining me, I want you to share this video because I want the Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammad Buhari, to also get to listen to my voice this morning. And I believe with your powers, we can actually ascertain this intention of mine, because we are talking about the people who are, victims of bad governance. We are talking about our youths who are victims of poor parenting. We are talking about our fellow youths who are victims of neglect by the society. Before I go into details, I want us to get up to 50 before I let the cat out of the bag. So if you're just joining me this morning, I want us to please share this broadcast. Share this broadcast. It's very important. I want us to share this broadcast. Thank you. Yes. I believe we can do better. I want us to please share this broadcast. Share this broadcast. Share. We can do much. I can see Destiny Nice. I can see Mia Bela. I can see Atalo. I can see Philip. I can see Philip. I can see Osaho. Please, I want us to share this broadcast. Share. I have a whole lot to say this morning. What I'm saying, I have seen criticisms over it on my platform. And for some of you who have not taken time to go through the comment section since I made this post, it will interest you to note that since yesterday, people have been reacting to what I said as regards to giving our youth state pardon. And some of these contributions I will share with you here before we commence the discussion proper. It is so sad that majority of our majority of our youth out there, decides to hide under the belief or the reasoning of pretense. It is so sad. Yeah, we're doing better. We're 30 this morning, and I believe we can do better. Just as I said earlier, I was going to be sharing some of the comments that people wrote on my platform, followers of mine who wrote on my platform. Somebody like Mr. Williams Odua did said, you won't start again, I know they, Emmanuel Aigbogun. Another person say, make una go protest for state CID. This your online protest no go solve am. It don't reach like this. Wahala. You too be no be fraudster. own your own. He never still reach when you go pay my money for 4 years. That's one Gabriel. He say, are you when Samson say, are you sure you are okay? Iso Godfrey Iso Senior said, at least you went to secondary school. Try to be professional and reasonable in some of your write-ups, sir. And I think I responded back to him by saying, at least try and hear the reasoning behind my call first. That's all right, bro. Steady. Society where one of our controversial social media persons also, they said, now wow, at least Ogo Weteti also said, hope all is well, my guy. Kingsley Kerry say, hey, Water and Babo said, if Buhari APC government can pardon government paid robbers, what is the crime of those small boys? Prince Osamu Yeme, equal rights for all. If political thieves that stole billions can be pardoned, why not also pardon petty criminals? Then King Charles Ataru, now wow, Facebook really the rubbish post too. How can a sane fellow post this? John Osa say, I talk and say you are one of the criminals. Are you in support of internet fraud? General Elvis said, are you in support of internet fraud? Pray for you to be a victim one day. Make una see who be one contest for LGO. Thank God you were screened out. What really do you stand for in this country? That's Cesar Garrick. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but I think the persons who actually saw it from my point of view were Prince Osamu Yeme, where he said equal rights for all. If political thieves that stole billions can be pardoned, why not also pardon petty criminals? And another of our brother also did said, if Buhari APC government can pardon government pen robbers, what is the crimes of those small boys? We're actually getting to 50. I want you to share this broadcast. Share this broadcast. I can see Eckhart Austin. I can see Lovely Care. I can see Mayor Hilton. I can see Morgan. I can see Destiny Nice. I can see Lovely Care. We are actually just waiting for 6 persons. I want you to share and invite. Let us get up to 50 before I let the cat out of the bag. It's very unfortunate that we Nigerians are still shying away from the truth. For those of you who know me very well, if I believe in something, I go all out for it. In time past, I have been opportune to solicit for bail for these persons, particularly when they are being arrested and taken to EFCC. From the chain of EFCC, from the investigating police officers, whether it is the police, whether it is whatever, the EFCC officials, whether it is the ICPC or the EFCC or what have you, these people also end up stealing, milking the families, all the individuals who are being, arrested as internet fraudsters in this country. I've said it times without number. In fact, to some extent, it became, something like a revenue drive for these security agencies to look for, good-looking young men with dreads, look for young men who are, well-dressed, who drive flashy vehicles, and sometimes without evidence they just run into them, seize their bank account numbers, go to look about the amounts of monies that they have got into their accounts, and on those bases they begin to tell them to confess how they got those monies. If they don't get the money, they charge them for internet fraud. Most times also they see some of these youths with evidences and they charge them to court. Sometimes they don't charge them to court, they collect a very large portion of the monies they find on them, grant them bail, and tell them to forget about whatever. Sometimes they impound their vehicles, they sell these vehicles to themselves. We are aware. If not, since President Muhammad Buhari began the fight against corruption, all the vehicles that have been seized from these Yahoo boys, where are they? These vehicles are running into thousands. You see them say today they arrest 100 boys with 100 vehicles in Ibadan. They arrest 100 boys with 100 vehicles in Port Harcourt. They arrest 100 boys with 100 vehicles in Abuja. They arrest 100 boys with 100 vehicles in Imo State. They arrest 100 boys with 100 vehicles in Benin. Where are all these proceeds? Where are all these vehicles? Some of them end up in the hands of these senior police officers. If you know of or hear about what the likes of Aruti have done to very many of these boys, the Hush Puppy case is not different. Now, the truth be said, because these children are not well placed, I believe if somebody like Hush Puppy were in Nigeria, he should have been applying for state pardon, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it is not a thing that has to do with just the APC government, so that people will not say I'm trying to fight one government or leave the other government because it's election era. Under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, his former boss, the governor of Bayelsa State, who stole stupendously from the Bayelsa people and their state treasury, was granted state pardon by the Goodluck Jonathan administration. Under President Muhammad Buhari, a government that is, spearheading the fight against corruption, we saw just recently the government demanding, or issuing a state pardon to a government or a former governors who have been tried and found guilty. They were tried from the High Court in Abuja to the appeal courts and to the Supreme Court, and they were sentenced to prison. But to our greatest surprise, these senior elites were granted state pardon, and some of them are in recent times vying for public office. The question to ask: would it not be a very, very gross injustice that the people who steal from our economy, who deny these young children, who deny them the right to better education, the right to good security, the right to good parenting, the right to affordable and good living standard? Because if you watch what all these boys do with the money or proceeds of these monies, is to either get a good car for themselves, get a good apartment for themselves, try to look good, try to ensure that they fight the scores of poverty that is very glaring before their eyes. 80% of the people who go into internet fraud do not just go in because they are so rich, or they're not just going because they just want to do it for the sake of fun. No, they are doing it because they see that poverty has taken over the lineage of their family and they need to break that bond. And they see this thing as one of those major avenues that would save them from poverty, would save them from having this this generational lineage of sharing poverty across the lifespan of their stay on earth. The truth be said, most Nigerians will be saying, oh, look at an activist coming out to support internet fraudster. Hey, he's a fake guy. I'm not a fake guy. I want to say this here. Our parents were tied down from this part of Africa to the European part of the world. Were used as slaves. We are used as slaves, forced to work in the white man's farm. Not only that, some of them were used as experiments for medical experiments and what have you. Some of them were even sent to war. If you see pictures of Africans, the way they were slaughtered in the Second and the First World War, you will be baffled. Now in all of this, the question to ask: who has jailed these white folks. But today, an internet fraud is, the order of the day, where, some people try to earn a living out of what they see as an avenue to enrich themselves. The white folks are coming to tell us that we must jail these people. They are the ones, telling the FCC, if you arrest an internet fraudster, we pay you this amount of money, once he's arrested and charged to court. But when these white people were taking us as slaves, how many of them got jailed? How many of them? That is on one part. How many of these people got jailed for enslaving our people, for dehumanizing Africans? How many of them? Now the issue of internet fraud is there. Government is championing it. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. The question to ask is very laughable now. Is that not laughable? Because of course it is. Now a shift from that, because so many people shy away from the truth. A shift from that. Are you aware that politicians since 1999 to date have gotten enough time, over 24 years, to reposition the needs of our people? Not just only the infrastructural need, the welfare needs of our people. As of today, these Yahoo boys, many of them, if you go into their details, they are not graduates. Some of them are not even secondary school WAEC holders, O-level holders, as the case may be. Some of them are just, primary school dropouts, secondary school dropouts, university dropouts, as the case may be. Some of them, not all, but a vast majority of them are either primary or secondary school dropouts. And these young men gather some level of talents and they try to use it to make monies for themselves. Now, those persons who have held public office, who have controlled the common wealth, the common patrimony of our people, over time, when they are being charged to court, they get one silly excuse of using the judiciary and the lawyers. They use the proceeds of the money they have stolen to consult and to pay. They end up either have the case against them thrown out of court, or the federal government withdrawing charges against them for political settlement or what have you, or the federal government give them state pardon, as you have seen. It is not just an issue of whether it is APC or it is PDP. It's an issue of how the Nigerian leadership, a style of accommodating criminals, is. So on that basis and on that platform, that is why some of us are coming out to say that every Yahoo boy in Edo State should be granted state pardon. This same thing I'm saying, the governor, just a few weeks ago, I'm going to post that video at the end of my broadcast. Just a few weeks ago, the governor came out to say that he wants the EFCC to rechannel, the intellectual abilities of these young men to doing something positive. You cannot arrest a young man who wants to fight poverty because he is doing an internet fraud, and at the end of the day, you charge him to court and sentence him to prison. He goes there to serve. But a politician who have stolen, who have led that young man, to look towards the path of corruption, to look towards the path of internet fraud, if he's been prosecuted and peradventure there's a judgment labeled against him, the next thing you see is that he's either given state pardon or the matter is thrown out of court for lack of merit. When we all know that the monies that was appropriated under his care while in office was grossly abused. In fact, they steal the whole money. The truth be said, and we must say it the way it is. We should stop deceiving ourselves and lying under and hiding under the garments of pretense. I am a real person. I don't fall for pretense. I'm a very, very real person. If a young man at the age of 18 that ventures into fraud without any proper education can make money out of the system, and the self-prosecuting police officers also milk them, also benefit from the proceeds by way of either providing protection for them, because if you go around town, You see some of these boys go to pay homage to the senior police officers, or senior military police officers in various formations. But what do they do? What do they do at the end of the day? They still arrest some of these ones who are, will I say, they don't have a godfather or whatever. They arrest them. They use them as scapegoats. They use them as scapegoats. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. How many internet or how many Yahoo fraudsters that are not stealing from our economy? There are some of them who end up, going to siphon money from people's ATMs, and I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about those ones who can sit down within the comfort of their room and collect money from Europe, collect money from Asia. Those ones who are not making our economy, they shouldn't put them in the prisons for whatever reasons. I am begging the government. I am going to come out on a protest, and I'm going to make sure that this campaign goes very, very wild. It's starting today, the 25th day of April 2022. The government should please, with all form of equality, fairness, and justice, begin to grant our Yahoo boys or internet fraudsters who are not stealing from our local economy state pardon. Because if they can grant those who are stealing from our local economy state pardon in the political circle, I don't see anything wrong with granting those young youths who are even attracting foreign direct investments into our economy. As far as I'm concerned, if not for this internet Yahoo or whatever you call it, Nigeria would have been a war front as of today, because the high level of stealing, the high level of robbery, not just robbery, armed robbery, would have been on the rise. So my conscious Edo people, my conscious Nigerians, my conscious and enlightened black folks who will come across this video, across the continent and across the globe as the case may be, I want you all to look at this with all form of equality. A politician steals from our common patrimony, money meant to provide a solution, build factories, build roads. They convert it to their private use, and at the end of the day, nobody, I say nobody, is being sentenced or held responsible for the gross abuse of public funds. And for those of them who are actually held, responsible and charged to court at the end of the day, when they must have stressed the courts, spent state funds to try them in court, investigate them, which we all know is not so cheap, at the end of the day, they get state pardon. But the ordinary man, the ordinary youth, young youth, who doesn't want to go to arms to put, whatever form of hardship or threat or whatever to his fellow black or fellow Nigerian, they end up locking him in the prison, saying that they are fighting corruption because they want to get, will I call it support grants from the international communities? The answer is no. Some of us are going to continue now to stand for what we believe in. We are saying no to oppressing internet fraudsters, and we are demanding the unconditional state pardon of all the internet fraudsters in Edo State. They should be given state pardon. You cannot arrest a kidnapper and charge him, and you release a politician who his actions in office must have led to the individual being a kidnapper. You see where money is meant to build schools are not built, money is meant to pay teachers teachers are not being paid, money is meant to train teachers are not being trained, money is meant to build hospitals, build roads, are also being stolen by these politicians, and nobody asks them questions. But when it comes to the ordinary black folks, when it comes to the ordinary black young child, they put them on they parade them, snap them, and label them all forms of charges and sentence them where necessary. Sentence them where necessary. So my conscious Edo people, our young folks are languishing in the Benin Correctional Facility in this very state. We want to call on the state governor, because Nigeria is a very big country with 6 states. We want to call on our state governor, Governor Godwin Obaseki, that we know also shares this same belief, because he knows what it means for young people to play with the internet and get money out of it. It's not so easy. You must get something upstairs. You must get something upstairs. So my basis is simple. If Americans, British, French, Germany, Portuguese, who colonized the black race, if none of them and their lineage have ever been sent to jail for dehumanizing Africans, for enslaving Africans, why are we now enslaving and imprisoning our own people? Because they have just done a minute thing to the donkey years of dehumanization, slavery, and manning humanity to man that was meted out on we black people. We should not be carried away by the sentiment of global best practice. We should also look within our reasoning and see if we are now pardoning political elites who have stolen stupendously from our common patrimony, and we are imprisoning those young youths who are using ideals, who are innovative to know that the internet can be a source of earning for them through one means or the other. Because, however, if it's not the white folks who are greedy, because when you see some of the means in which they collect these monies from them, you will be baffled. Some of these folks are very, 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 very greedy. Very, very greedy. And you come back, people who you ought to, rehabilitate them and send them for proper training so that they can deviate from this, then you are imprisoning them. And you see that as an achievement. Whereas senior police officers are looting the system through the overhead costs. Government budgets money for fuel. To date, if you go to the police station, you are the one to provide vehicle and fuel. In across the 36 police formations, state commands we have across Abi 37 plus, including the FCT, that we have across the country. Not to talk about other, senior investigative policing organs that we have across the country, like the IRT, the FCID, the name them. There are so many. The special anti-monitoring IGP monitoring team, name them. So this very morning, if you believe in what I'm saying, I cannot do it alone. We have to come out, particularly the parents of these people who are in captivity, because I've seen a lot of people where the process of this crime they collect is sometimes sold off by the investigating teams. Very many. Some of them, they share a large portion of their loots with the investigating police teams, EFCC, ICPC, as the case may be. You have seen in time past how a senior police officer became a tailor to a major internet fraudster. He became a tailor that he now gives them designers wears to act like big elites in the society. That alone should tell you that what our government is doing to these young folks is questionable. For me, I will continue to preach truth. Just as I have said, it is not only President Muhammad Buhari that has also granted state pardon. President Goodluck Jonathan did same, and I believe Obasanjo also did same to some folks, political elites that they felt at some point in order needed to be given some pardon so that they can enjoy the political support from their political associates that they have at some level. So believe you me, let us rise up and demand for this, and I believe it's a win-win-win thing, particularly here in Edo State, where we have a governor that has also thought it wise to also look into the views of my position this morning. And Comrade Agbogu Emmanuel, I don't sentiment in doing my advocacy. Most times the things I believe in, you might not believe in it, but the truth be said, this should be taken very, 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 very serious, because I don't see a reason why till date no single American, no single British have jailed, or French have jailed their people for dehumanizing Africans, from stealing stupendously from Africa, from enslaving our fathers, our mothers, stealing them like chickens, and putting them in a field of labor where they were not paid salaries, where they were not given any form of proper education, not until when we started demanding for it the way we are demanding this morning. Not until when we start demanding for it the way we are demanding this morning. Do not forget, the black man would have still been trekking while the white folks enter bus in very many European countries today that blacks are all over, if not for the likes of Martin Luther King and his likes, Malcolm X and all that, who stood firm to ensure that the black skin is equal. So today, if we are not coming out to advocate for these young folks who do not have anybody to run to than the society, to fight for them, to stand for them, who else, I repeat, who else will do that for them? So I am coming out with all form of seriousness to demand for state pardon for every internet fraudster in my state, particularly those ones who have not done their activities, their illegalities according to law in our local banking system or financial system, as the case may be. If it's foreign, I am in 100% support that they should be granted state pardon. So, ladies and gentlemen, the campaign has just begun. If you believe you share this philosophy, if you believe you share this reasoning, if you believe you see the truth, the equity, the justice, the fairness in my deposition this morning, you are very free to write me up, join the campaign, support the campaign. We will come all out in less than 14 days from today to ensure that we begin to do what is expected of us. We cannot fold our hands while politicians get state pardon, having bastardized our economy, bastardized our welfare system, bastardized our infrastructural system, put unemployment as a right to Nigerians, put insecurity as a right to Nigerians, put injustice as a right to Nigerians, put hardship as a right to Nigerians, and at the end of the day, they will say that those of us, or those young folks, those young youths who, out of innovation, see internet fraud as a money-making venture, they lock them in prison and throw the key away. The truth be said, an injustice to one is an injustice to all. You might not see it as an injustice today, but having sat down quietly to reason in my quiet times in my hollow chamber, and I discovered that there is a gross, very, very gross injustice, very, very gross hardship, very, 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 very gross unfairness that is meted out on African youths and Nigerian youths in particular, and particularly those state youths. So, without wasting time, if you have a friend, a brother, a sister, an uncle, an auntie, a mother who is a victim, please feel free to reach out to me. My phone numbers are all out there. I'm going to end by dropping my phone number so that you can reach me. 080-3364-1993. We will get state pardon for as many people that have coming out to say yes, they demand state pardon from the government. We will get state pardon. And to all those people who say although I don't support Yahoo, the question I'm asking, how many white folks have been jailed for enslaving our parents, for raping, mass raping, gang raping our women, our mothers, enslaving them, forcing them to be sex slaves, dehumanize them by way of flogging, torture, and at the end of the day, just because God creates an avenue via them through the internet for us to exploit them, then you are saying jail them, send them to jail. This one, all the level of inhuman treatment through slavery and recolonization and colonization of our people. Is that not a bad image to the European countries? How many people have they jailed? The labor of our black skin is what is giving them a better life there for donkey years. Imagine using a particular race of people for over 100 years for slavery. They work in the farms, they work in the industries, and you don't pay them. If they refuse to work, you flog them, tie them open, whip them. Their women, their wives, you sleep with them as slave masters. And at the end of the day, everybody is saying, that this voice of ours we are coming out with is dead on arrival. But I tell you, united we stand, divided we fall. United we demand for state pardon, divided our youth continue to languish in say while politicians who have stolen stupendously from our common patrimony are enjoying in their mansions built with public funds, are enjoying on medical tourisms, from here to Europe, while those poor ordinary children of the ordinary class, continue to remain in hardship, continue to remain in hunger. We shall continue to use the media. We shall continue to use our strength as comrades to march on the streets to demand state pardon for Yahoo boys, to demand state pardon for internet fraudsters, whatever name you call them. I do not think that they should be treated the same way the local armed robbers, the local kidnappers, the local rapists, the local call them crime committers, as the case may be. I don't really think they should be treated the same form. If our politicians haven't stolen stupendously, cannot even spend a jail term of 5 years, a jail term of 6 years, and are being granted state pardon, you can look at the likes of Ojus or Kalu. After they must have been tried, they came out to say no case. And we knew that monies came, and these monies cannot be accounted for. Once again, I'm Comrade Agbogu Emmanuel. I think I'll be calling the shots here now to an end. But please, we are over 62 persons watching this broadcast. If you decide to place your hands on the share button, you are lending a voice to the voiceless this very morning. If you decide to place your hand on the share button this hour, you are lending a voice to the voiceless. 62 of us can actually make a change this very minute. Before leaving, I want to believe that you have heard me. I see people are now sharing. Please place your hand on the share button and let us begin to demand for fairness, equity, justice, and equality in our society. Once again, I'm Comrade Agbogu Emmanuel. It is my simple way of doing things, and I believe by virtue of my stature as a civil society practitioner in this state, I believe justice, fairness, equity, equality, and state pardon can be given to this youth. Thank you and bye for now.
Now we don't hear from Emmanuel Agbogun. Let us know what you think for comment section. If you never subscribe to Dan ARG YouTube, try make you subscribe so that make you for the hear all the things where they happen for Nigeria. Make I leave you now with this video, make you help us share am. Thank you for watching Dan ARG YouTube.